At Leadership Driven Project Management Academy, we really focus on a number of key success parameters because they are what drives a more productive environment. One of them, though, is customer-focused deliverables. Customer-focused deliverable often means that folks expect us to be creative and innovative, and it kind of poses an interesting problem. How can you be innovative on demand? But innovation, creativity, thinking outside of that box, it's a huge deal. But innovation on demand, that's a little tough, and yet it's constantly becoming an expectation. Well, let me give you an example. I hate to admit it, but I was stuck. 20 scripts in, posts and newsletter relaunch, and with 20 at least pieces to go. And it turns out at that point was when my brain and I were no longer on speaking terms. Now, this happened during a period when I was blessed with a particularly full calendar. I was facilitating workshops all over the world and had even accepted the challenge of being part of a request for a proposal for work in Mozambique. Never been to Mozambique. Wouldn't that be cool to visit? Now, at first, like a lot of people before me, and unfortunately probably a lot of people after me, I just figured it was me. Wouldn't you? Well, it turns out that even the best creative minds will tell you that while you can't generally get innovation or creativity on demand, you can create an environment, both culture and structural, that practically invites constant creativity. That becomes the basis for tons of innovation. And it actually combines to create an environment that practically seduces innovation and creativity into being. Does that sound too fanciful for you? Let's start with that amazing hotbed of innovation, IDEO. From branding to strategy to organizational redesign, they've created and executed in ways that have inspired, awed, and moved markets. Sure, they hire smart, bright people. Well, so do you, right? Oh, and you are one of the smart, bright folks on your team. But they also take strong steps to assure that the environment is a combination of structure and synchronicity. If we get back to basics, Kaufman and Beghetto suggest that there are different levels of creativity. So it starts with mini-C, which is the kind of creativity that offers really intrinsic exploration, that gives us room to learn, and it occurs primarily during the learning process of anything. Now, a lot of people think that this means that that's primarily what kids are doing, but it's not just kids. It's any time that the learning process is in play, which means that anytime you choose to pick up a new skill or address a new professional challenge, that's a mini C. Then there's little c. This level is usually thought of everyday creativity, and to give you some idea of how often people are reaching for this kind of creativity, most of the time people call it a hack. The thing is, the person who is creating that little c creativity is actually not the one who notices it the most. Teachers, peers, family, you name it, friends, they're the ones who are going to see it. But the person who's actually created that little c, not so much. Now, the pro C. Pro stands for professional creativity, and this level is really domain specific. And it's motivated by both intrinsic and extrinsic values. Think of the amazing paydays that certain artists and certain entrepreneurs get. They didn't get just started, though, with thinking, oh, this is going to be the bazillion-dollar idea. They had an idea that wouldn't let go of them, and maybe even changed the arc of evolution in that profession. Think technology. Then there is the big C. This is the highest level of creativity in the Kaufman Beghetto model, and it transcends professional accolades and provides intellectual breakthroughs that benefit the whole society. And this rare brand of creativity is what we associate with great philosophers, scientists, and artists throughout history. They change the world. Sometimes they not only change the world, but they change how we see it. You see, the structure of this model is the inherent thread of creative progression. Okay, it may take a rare combination of things to get to the highest level of creativity, but that doesn't mean that each of us is capable of any number of creative efforts. Creativity is not an innate talent, but rather a skill that can be developed over time. So essentially what this means is that you can learn to be more creative. But here's where it gets difficult. Where something like learning to play piano or throwing a ball is part natural inclination, part physical capacity, and part application of discipline and grit in your practice, honing your creativity doesn't actually have a strictly linear learning curve. So start here. The answers to the following questions can help you determine not just how creative you are, but where you're being creative, so that you can use that as a leverage to becoming even more creative. Okay? First question. Where are you already being creative? Oh, and by the way, do you recognize that as creativity? You know, there's a difference between imaginative and creative. When you're being imaginative, that means that you're being able to think of things in an unexpected or, previously unrecognized way. Being creative means taking an approach or that very imaginative thought process and then executing on it. Recognize those actions that are productively, even just a little bit, out of the normal set of expectations. Was it done better? A little creativity. Was it done just as well, but took a lot less grief? Depending on your values, to my way of thinking, that is even more important. With regards to organizations, was a new approach responsible for a process improvement that we can take even further? Now, another one of our key success parameters is collaborative spirit. So you can include a little collaborative spirit building here by recognizing team members who demonstrate appreciation for someone else's creativity. Oh, and realize that sometimes the very thing that is frustrating you can be the germ of an idea for some other area that you could develop. I'm Kimihiro Tsuzimski, and this video was brought to you by the Leadership Driven Project Management Academy. If you've been enjoying the tips and suggestions that you get from us, or just the lesson material, please subscribe. If you think somebody else might enjoy it, please forward the link on to them. We'd love to have you join us on a regular basis, but thank you for joining me today.